Welcome to the System Simplified podcast, where we feature top leaders who share stories on how to successfully systemize a business. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hello, Adi Klevit here, the host of the System Simplified podcast, where I feature top founders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders about systematizing a business. And today's episode is being brought to you by Business Success Consulting Group, where we create, document, optimize, and implement processes and procedures so businesses can grow and thrive. And today's guest is a recurring guest, Alice Heiman. Hi, Alice.
Hi, I'm so glad to be back on the show. We always have such great discussions.
We do. I was also a guest on your show and we did fantastic. And that's why we decided, okay, there is more to talk about. Our episodes are about 20 minutes long and there is only so much you can talk about in those 20 minutes. But I'm going to include in the show notes the episode that we did together on this podcast on the System Simplified and also on your show. So the listeners can just, they can't have enough of our conversation. They can listen to it. But Alice, I'm going to read your bio again so we know who you are. You are a chief sales energizer and you internationally known for your expertise in elevating sales to increase valuation for companies with a B2B sale that have exceptional growth potential, which is fantastic because our listeners are fast-growing companies lacking consistency. And you spend your time strategizing with CEOs, company leaders, and their sales leadership to build the strategies that find new business and grow existing accounts. That's your passion. So, this is the System Simplified. You are all about making sales, simplifying sales and not making it that complex. We both agree that businesses cannot operate without playbooks. I mean, having a business and trying to run it without actually knowing how to do each and every position, how can you create teamwork? You can't.
It's crazy, right? It's crazy to try to operate without any documentation that can be followed and continuously improved upon, right? Like it's hard because you're relying on a human who has it all in their head to be around all the time when they're needed.
That's exactly right. So let's start talking about your methodology. And if you needed to right now write a playbook for a company for this sales, how would you do that? Where would you start?
Well, really, I kind of want to rewrite the playbook on sales, right? And you and I have talked about that before, and I talk about it all the time because we're doing sales the hard way. It's just overwhelming for most people. And we just need to make sales easier. But I think most people just haven't got any idea how to do that. And so I thought today we could walk through that together, right? And leave everybody here with sort of a step-by-step what you can do to make sales easier at your company. And maybe that will help them rewrite or write to their own playbook.
I'm game. Let's do it. So where should we start? What's step one of the playbook?
Well, I mean, you can never start reaching out to customers, potential customers, unless you know exactly who they are. So we'll just take a little minute on that and hope that everybody really understands who their ideal customer is. So I just want to say that there's really two things to look at. Who is your ideal customer? That is a list of companies that are most likely to buy from you. And you figured that out, right? By doing your market research and understanding your current customers, who they are and why they buy from you. Or if you're brand new, right? You don't know yet, but you're assuming these will be your ideal customers. And maybe you've done some beta testing or something like that. So these are the companies who have a profile, their demographics that you believe are most likely to buy from you. Okay, so we get that list. Then we have to find the personas. Who are the people within those companies who will resonate with your message, who will want to talk to you, who will be making the decision. And of course, Addie, in a complex sale, we know that is more than one person, right? It could be five, six, seven, eight. You try to find as many as you can. So that's really just simply where we have to start. We have to know who's most likely to buy from us company wise, have that list. And then we need to know who to contact at those companies because they're the ones who would be most engaged with what solution we have to offer, and they're going to be part of the decision-making process. That's step one.
Okay, good. So we identify. What's step two?
Well, then we're going to want to figure out the best way to reach them. Now, as you know, and we have probably had conversation about this as well, cold outreach is the absolute hardest way to find people who can buy from you. And yet, it's the number one way that most companies use. So when I say rewrite the playbook, I would say make cold outreach your last resort. If you've tried everything else and you still cannot get to these people, then you can try a cold approach. But there's some ways to warm it up, which we can talk about too. So instead of cold outreach, what should you do? That's what people are always asking me, right? All right. So what you should do is number one, figure out who in your network can make an introduction. So that means you have to have a network, right? And you hopefully have stayed in touch with that network and you have nurtured that network.
You also work with companies that are fast growing, that are established, so.
Mostly, right? But even if you're a startup, Addie, think about it. You have friends and family who know people. You have past colleagues, past classmates. You actually know a lot of people who know people. You just might not be thinking that. And you probably have some type of board of advisors or some investors, and they know people too. So you have got to take a look at your own network first, right? Even if you're just starting, you have a network and you can use that first. And of course, all smart entrepreneurs do that, right? That's the way many, many companies start up. They know people in their ecosystem and they go to them and they can get the help that they need. Now, these people in your network might not be the right people to buy from you, but they might know the people that you need to know, and they might be willing to make an introduction, especially if they know you well and know that you would do a great job. So always start there. Now, if you've been on LinkedIn for any length of time, you have a huge network on LinkedIn. Granted, you probably don't know these people very well. I mean, Addie, you and I both have connections on LinkedIn that we don't actually know or have, we've never met them or anything. But if we speak somewhere and people connect with us, or, people just randomly connect and you accept it, okay, well, those people are there. But you can look through your own network on LinkedIn and see who you actually do know well enough. And then using the search features on LinkedIn or LinkedIn Navigator, you can see who your friends know. And then once you see that, you can say, hey, Addie, I see you know Ben Smith. You're connected to him on LinkedIn. Do you know him well enough to make an introduction? And then you can say yes or no.
Yes.
And if you do, you'll probably be happy to introduce me because we know each other well and you know what I can do. But I would also give you a clue. So this is what I'd like to talk to him about. So that when you go to Ben Smith, you can say, hey, I want to introduce you to my friend Alice Heiman, or my colleague Alice Heiman, or someone, I've worked with her in the past, whatever your relationship is, explain that to them. She has done these things for me, or I know that she has helped a lot of CEOs like you. And so you're giving a little bit of explanation, help them with that intro, right? So in any case, whether you're going to do it by phone, email, LinkedIn, if a person agrees to introduce you, help them out, give them some words to say, right? So that's really just the very first thing. Look to see if you can get introduced. So now, if you have this great big list of companies and you're trying to figure out who might know somebody, again, go back to LinkedIn. It's a great tool, and you can look up those companies, look up the personas you're looking for, and it will instantly show you your mutual connections.
Yes.
And then
That's
if you,
brilliant. Brilliant.
right,
Okay,
if you
good. So
don't
you,
know any of them very well, then here's what I suggest. Because a lot of people tell me, oh, but I don't really know them. And I'm like, okay, well, why don't you start to get to know them? So
that's
start
an
nurturing
opportunity
your
also for
network.
that person to increase their network. Not necessarily me. Like, let's say I'm asking you, and you say, well, I don't really know Ben Smith. I said, well, it's a great opportunity for you to get to know him. And great. So now you
Exactly.
got a connection. Maybe you'll get a connection as
Exactly.
well out of
And
that.
what's easy is if these people are posting on LinkedIn. Now, if they're not posting, it's much harder. So I'm not saying it isn't hard, but there are a percent of people you can meet through your network somehow. And there are a percent of those you can meet through LinkedIn. Not 100%, but I'm probably 50%, which is
Mhm.
a lot, right? So if we can take this huge long list of people we want to meet and get an introduction to half of them, then what, can we do for the other half? So let's move on to that because I think y'all get the idea. And if you don't know how to do it, just connect with me and I'll help you figure it out. But a lot of times when I was just about to say before I went on, sorry, if they don't know them very well or you don't know them very well, then go see if they post, start clicking like and making a comment. Do that for, a couple of times and then send them a direct message and say, we've been connected on LinkedIn since, and you can find out how long you've been connected on LinkedIn. Or just say, we've been connected on LinkedIn, but we've never actually had any communication. And so I wanted to say hello and tell you how much I'm enjoying your posts and see if there's anything I can do for you. Notice
Absolutely.
I
Okay,
didn't
good.
ask, can you introduce me to the person
No, no,
right? I
you
didn't ask
develop
that.
those relationships. That's good. So okay, so we have step one, step two. Let's go to the next step. So we got
Okay.
an introduction.
So if you cannot get an introduction, that's okay. The next thing should be where could I possibly meet these people? Are there industry events, regional, local, national? Are there conferences? Are there trade shows? Where could I go to meet these people? Do they gather online anywhere? Do they belong to an organization? Now, let's say they belong to an organization. You could contact that organization and say, I'd like to be on a panel or I'd like to do a presentation. Now, sometimes you have to pay. Oh, well, it costs money to send cold outreach too. Everything costs money.
That's true.
But you can be a presenter and offer content and don't offer obviously offer content and not, I'm going to sell to your people. I'm going to give them some great ideas of what they can do. And, at the end, if they want to contact me, that's up to them, right? So figure out a way to get in front of the people. Think about what podcasts they listen to, right? Like here we are, Addie, on a podcast. Lots of people are going to meet me through this podcast.
That's
And
true.
if they contact you, then you can introduce them to me. So you've got to get in front of the people who are most likely to buy from you. So where do they gather? In person, online, asynchronously? Do they have a group on Reddit? Do they have a group on LinkedIn? Do they have a Facebook group? Is there a Slack group? So find the people who are most likely to buy from you. Where do they gather? And you have to show up there. Now, if there's a conference or a trade show, you can have a booth. That's fine. It's a lot of work and a lot of money, but you don't have to do that. You can just show up, but you can make some contacts in advance and have some appointments when you get there. Or you can find out if there's any chance to speak at those conferences or trade shows. And sometimes you have to pay. Yes, it's true, but it will be worth it if you set it up properly. So you find the places they are and you be there, network, get in front of them with content if you can. And that is another great way that you can meet people and not have to send cold messages or do cold calls or cold LinkedIn's. Okay. Because
Yeah.
now once you've met them, you follow up. Now, don't try to sell to them right away because you don't know if there's anything that they need or not yet. Get a relationship built, right? And that is a really easy way. Now, there's more.
Okay.
I don't know how much time we have.
So, okay, good. So we got to this stage where you actually following up with them, building a connection, finding out what they need. What would be the next step?
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's leave that for a minute because I still want to just talk about how else you can meet them. Because
Yeah.
if you can't meet them through your network and you can't meet them through an event, you still don't have to go to cold outreach yet. What else can you do? You can hold your own event. You can hold a webinar, a roundtable. You can find some other companies that don't compete with you that are trying to reach the same audience, and you can get together, right? And do something, some type of event online or in person and invite your ideal audience to it. So,
Brilliant. That's how you and I met, really, through an event that you put together, a roundtable with another professional. And there were many of us there, and it was great.
right, because not only do you provide content that they need, you provide a networking opportunity for them to meet people they haven't met before that could be useful in their network.
That's absolutely correct. And that is a great way of doing it. So they are basically find out, you have to locate the people that you want to meet, that you have interest to meet, that are your target audience, your target market, and then do be creative on how to get to know them, because now it's not really cold because you are identifying, right? It's like Ivan Meisner, the founder of BNI, likes to say specific is terrific. Now it's specific. It's not like I want to meet manufacturing companies. No, I want to meet Ben Smith, who owns ABC Manufacturing Company,
Yes.
and his COO is such and such, and the CFO is such and such. So where do those people go? What did they post on LinkedIn? Oh, I saw that they are going to an industry event. Good. Next year, they're probably going to go to the same one. Find out if they do, or here I see somebody connected. So you just tap into those communication lines, which is very, very powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And you might say, well, if you're inviting to an event and you've never met them before, that's cold outreach. It is, yet there's a purpose to it, not just trying to sell them something. So people are much more receptive to being invited to an event than they are to, I sell this, would you like to get on a call with me?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you have to make yourself real. And if they don't want to come to your event, that also weeds them out because they might not be interested. I mean, it might be, but you can ask, well, I mean, if they say I can't arrive to this event, okay, good. Are you interested in this educational topic? Because I'm going to do more events. Or no, oh, you're not interested in that. So tell me what so you start a conversation by being interested and basically giving them something of value.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think then the last thing that I would say to do is to use LinkedIn or any social platform where your ideal customers gather and put out good content so they get to know you. Or if, let's say, you invite them to the event and they are like, I don't know who this Alice Heiman is, I'll go look at her profile. When they get there, they see that I'm a real person, they see what I offer, they see what kind of posts I make, what kind of content I share, and they can then decide, oh, yeah, this would be something I'm interested in or not. So if you are putting out really great content wherever your audience is, then they can see that as well. And it's the combination of all these things, right? It might be that you met them at a trade show, but then you see they're connected to someone you know, and you ask that person to make a reintroduction or reconnection, but also saying what you did for them, or why we should talk or something like that. Or it could be that they saw you on LinkedIn and then they meet you at a trade show, and then you can have a deeper conversation about the kind of content you were posting. Or maybe like with you and we went to the same event roundtable together. Then we thought, oh, we have a lot in common. Let's chat again. We weren't trying to sell each other anything, right? And then I'm on your podcast, you're on my podcast. I mean, the possibilities are endless. So I
I
think
agree.
that to do all those things before you just start sending out cold emails, making cold calls, and doing cold LinkedIn outreach, do all of these other things first. And yes, use social media to provide content and connect with people, comment on their posts. It's like a conversation. You get it started on social media, and then you can continue it perhaps, in an online meeting or in person. But you get it started that way. And then if all else fails, you can do cold outreach. But again, it can't just be, hey, I sell this. Do you want to talk to me about it? It has to be all about them and how you can improve their life and why it would make sense for them to talk to you. So even if you're going to do cold outreach, you can do it better than you are now today.
Great advice. And I think this will be like open the door for another conversation on how to actually sell. But today we talked about how to make that connection, which is so important. So if our listeners would like to reach out and learn more about what you do and talk to you, how can they do that?
Yes, just go to aliceheiman.com, and all my contact information is there as well. But you can also find me on LinkedIn. It's Alice Heiman on LinkedIn. And just let me know in your message that you met me here on Addie's show, and I'll connect with you.
Awesome. That is very good. And I appreciate you being on the podcast again and sharing all this information. Thank you, Alice.
Thanks for listening to the System Simplified podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.